Hi everyone, this is Heather from Blossoming Light, and I am finally back. I took quite a long break from my YouTube channel. There was some negative energy I kept feeling that I wasn't quite in alignment with, so I took a little break, but I've been really missing doing the readings, and so I'm going to start back up doing weekly oracle card readings. I'll probably wait a little while if ever. I'm not sure about getting back into the horoscope readings, but at least for now, I'll be doing the weekly oracle card readings. So, this oracle card reading is for the week of August 15th. And the deck that I'm using today is Wild Wisdom of the Fairy Oracle. I love this deck. It's all about fairies, and I've been feeling the fairy energy lately. So, okay, what we have coming up this week: Shimmer, Green Man's Bride, Sacred Doorway, Secret Doorway, I'm sorry, not sacred. Oops. And the Unicorn and the Maiden. So, we have some astrological occurrences coming up. I'm not an astrologer, but these kind of planetary alignments and retrogrades and things like that, I generally fall into my readings because there's an influence there. So, August 10th began the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow phase. Mercury retrograde begins the end of August, and its post-shadow phase continues until the first or second week in October. So, if any of you are familiar with Mercury retrogrades, you know it can be a challenging time, but they're good times for learning, for self-introspection, healing, communication, things like that. If you look at it positively, it can be a very good time for fixing things that aren't quite in alignment in your life. And when challenges occur, just know, roll with the punches and see what lesson there is to learn in them, okay? So, with our reading this coming week, August 15th, I'm feeling a lot of magical energy. Intuition is going to be very high, so follow any kind of gut instincts, any kind of insights you have, ideas. If you're in, like a store or something like that, and you think, maybe I should leave, or kind of those instincts, those random thoughts that are just out of nowhere, listen to them. If you have an idea about how you might want to jumpstart a new job or a relationship or something like that, go with it. That's your intuition likely guiding you to what's going to be good for your soul and good for your life. So what we have here: Shimmer, glamour, confidence, allure, charisma. I'm going to pair that up with the Green Man's Bride. The message that I got was that we need to really start looking at ourselves truthfully and appreciating what we see in all of our aspects. And all the readings that I've been doing lately, that has really been coming up. It's been very, very prominent. We need to appreciate ourselves, the dark and the light. There's always things about ourselves that we're like, oh, I wish we could change. Oh, I don't like that about myself. Oh, I hate that aspect of my personality. When you're new to a relationship or a friendship, those are always the aspects that you hide because you're like, wow, I don't want that person to see that part of me because they're going to run for the hills. Okay, we need to get to the point where we are loving all aspects of ourselves. Now, that may not happen. Well, I can probably guarantee that it's not going to happen overnight. But you can at least start working toward that and appreciating, seeing your faults, seeing your darknesses, seeing the things that you want to keep hidden or that you tend to keep hidden, and accepting them as part of who you are. Yes, that's not necessarily okay with some people. Those aspects aren't okay with some people, but that's fine. They don't need to be. You need to be okay with yourself. If other people don't like the good and the bad of you, then those are the people that you probably don't want in your life. Now, granted, family's always going to be a part of that, but you know what? They have their place. You are very, very important to you. And I don't want to say the negative side, the dark side, the more hidden aspects, I guess, the shadow, let's say this is shadow side, it's a little better wording. That has a very important part in your destiny and who you are as a human and for your spiritual growth. So don't knock those shadow sides because they have a purpose. They may not always be readily apparent, but they do have a purpose, and it's okay. And how that shadow side plays out in your life is how things are supposed to be. Okay? So focus on opening your eyes to who you really are this week. And your intuition is going to play a part here. I can't exactly feel how. I think it's going to be different for everyone. I think it's going to play out feels like it's going to play out anyway, in actions, in how events unfold in your life in the next week, how situations occur. You might be able to see if you're opening your eyes, and keep your eyes open. I think you're going to be able to see how your shadow side, or how it's okay to love your shadow side in either interactions or situations or things like that this coming week, okay? The universe is giving you opportunities to see yourself as whole and beautiful, all of you, and you're getting messages and you're getting guided to do so. So if you feel, okay, maybe I shouldn't be berating myself over this, yeah, that's exactly right. You shouldn't be. Okay, next, secret doorway. Again, this is talking about intuition, second sight, those feelings. Be paying very, very close attention. There's also going to be doors opening this week for you. And that feels like it's going to relate to healing. So the doors may not be the doors of opportunity, maybe like what you're wanting, whether relationships or career or finances or something like that. It feels more like these doors are opening for you to walk through to transform yourself, to become more whole, to become more in alignment with who you are at a soul level versus who you are at a human level, if that makes sense. We all have, for those of you who it doesn't make sense to, we all have two aspects of ourself, a spirit self and an ego self. The ego self is what comes from our humanity in this body, in this creation. Our spirit self is what is connected still to the divine. And that's the part of ourself that has the higher knowing and our intuition and things like that. A very, very important part of our life here on earth is our ego. We have to have kind of a balance in order to learn the lessons that we're here to learn. And so your ego is going to come into play, but so is your spirit aspect this week. They're going to kind of you're going to have doors open to you, opportunities to kind of start matching those up to where if your ego is human self is very, very strong, then you're going to have opportunities to balance that with spiritual openings, spiritual awakenings. If your spirituality is very strong, you might have opportunities to be open to more humanistic side of things. And that's where this card plays in for some of you, okay? So bear with me. Some of you will be having the opportunity to get really grounded and down into your lower chakras with dealing with fears. So you might have fears coming up next week. You might have emotional ties that are coming up to pull at you next week. And that's going to be a cue to really go into those lower chakras, your root, sacral, and possibly solar plexus chakras, and really delve into those issues, delve into those problems and feelings and fears and things that you feel might be holding you back. It's going to be time to connect with those. So for some of you who are more spirit oriented, those will be, you will have opportunities that play on those, that may play on those fears or play on those emotions that cause you to have to deal with those chakras, versus instead of try to block them out and stay more on your spirit side, the upper chakra side. For others of you who are already very deep into those chakras, you might have, or I should say grounded on your ego side, you might have doors that open up to you to heal and move past some of those blocks and limitations on the spiritual side. Let's see if I can find, if they can give me an example. Well, okay, so what my guides are showing me is you'll have opportunity to work on your upper chakras, okay? And in particular, I'm seeing your throat chakra, blue, and being able to connect with who you really are on a soul level. For some people, that's really difficult. They're too engrossed in fears and expectations, especially from societal expectations and maybe family expectations, what we've grown into. You will have, some of you may recognize that, others may not. You might have opportunities presented to you to really connect with who you are, where your voice is, where your voice truly comes from. Because there's always going to be aspects of ourselves, like I was talking about, the hidden aspects of ourselves, but those aspects of ourselves really are us on a soul level, as much as we try to hide them. And that's why it's going to be important to go inside yourself and start accepting those hidden shadow aspects of yourself, because that's the true you. And when you can accept those, then you can start sharing those aspects with the world. And so for those of you that are really ego-based or grounded in the lower chakras, your opportunities are going to be to rise above that and to connect with yourself on a soul level and share that with the world. Hopefully that makes sense. If you are totally confused by this reading, then you probably don't follow me often, because I'm always talking about chakras and healing and things like that. So if you have any questions, please leave your comments below. I would be happy to explain anything for you. I will also leave all of my Facebook information and my Instagram information and things like that, because I do sporadic readings. And I'm once again happy to be back on YouTube, and I am going to finish the reading there. I hope you all have a beautiful week coming up, filled with love and light, and you keep working on healing and your personal happiness and connecting with yourself. Okay? Until next week. Bye.